You are now listening to Podcast Like a Champion Today, an OU football podcast produced by fans for fans. Now, here are your hosts, Noah, Joe, Johnny, and Christian.
All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Podcast Like a Champion Today. We are rolling into week 2 of the college football season here. We're getting ready to look forward to what OU's got going on. But also, as we look back at week 1, OU versus UTEP, we saw OU get a big win. We saw the offense fire and the defense fire and all of those things. If you missed it, we did a post-game podcast. We plan on doing those as often as we can. The Saturday nights following the games, they should be out by Sunday. And so if you want to hear our recap and our thoughts from the initial game, the OU UTEP, go back and listen to that. You can find it on Spotify, Apple, any of those places that you normally listen to us. So go back, let us know what you think about that post-game recap. And so, man, I think we'll just jump right in here. We'll look forward to OU versus Kent State. I don't know if I have ever heard of Kent State before I found out that OU was playing them. I think they're kind of one of those nobody teams. Nobody knows a whole lot about them until you beat them by a lot whenever you're a bigger program. But Noah, Joe, Johnny, what are your thoughts? What are you looking forward to? What's your initial takes going into OU Kent State?
So their quarterback, guys, correct me if I'm wrong if you know his name. Colin Schneebly? Colin Schneebly? Bruce Schneebly? Their quarterback. He can run a little bit. He was correct me if I'm wrong, their leading rusher last week.
That's correct. Yep.
Yeah. So, he can run a little bit. I would like to see how our D-line kind of contains that, if they can. I think pretty confident in them. But, yeah, that's all I really saw. The other thing that I did see from watching them against Washington was they were a little chippy. They got up after the play a little talked a little bit. So we'll see if that happens against OU. So
and Washington didn't have Buki Radley-Hiles to talk back.
Yeah,
so
they didn't have their guy to give him a 15-yard penalty after he makes a play. They didn't have him.
UTEP's quarterback Hardison, just to like my naked eye, whatever, looks better than the Schlee dude. You said, he ran 8 times for 51 yards, which led the team. He didn't do much through the air, completed 50% of his passes for 178 yards. Again, they're playing a Power 5 team in Washington, but I don't think Washington's defense or offense is anything to write home about. Johnny, you're joining us on the road out in Florida.
Yeah.
Maybe.
If you can see any,
Johnny, you're joining us. Johnny, you're joining us from the road. You're out in Florida looking at some recruits. Let us know what you've been up to.
Yes, sir. So actually, I have been on a long postponed honeymoon with my wife, visiting some of her family in Florida, and
not on roller coasters, right?
Yeah. So, as you guys heard in the first podcast, we are 4 fat OU fans.
Mm-hmm.
And any of our bigger listeners know you're not getting on all these rides when you go to amusement parks.
That's right.
They're going to make you wait at least an hour, and you get up to the front, and they're going to try to squeeze all your fat into these seats.
And you're just spilling out of that thing.
Just spilling out of it. And then they're going to tell you, hey, fatty, you got to get off. And then you let your friends go, have a really good time, and you watch them from the ground.
After you wait 45 minutes in a line.
Yeah, it's a good time. So, anyways, I'm out here in Florida. So my wife's family is from Gainesville. I know it's really unfortunate.
You got to tour the swamp, huh?
Yeah. Well, actually,
Ah.
it was not open.
Yeah.
We caught a stadium, Joe. It was awesome.
Did you really?
Yeah.
You snuck in?
Mm-hmm. It was Labor Day, so all the gates were closed, but there were some people like on the field doing like cleaning the field and whatnot. So one of the little gates was kind of slightly open, and my
Oh.
father-in-law just said, "Hey, let's go."
Was
So,
it gross? Was the
actually,
swamp gross?
Did it look
Like-
like Shrek's? Wow,
Sw-
Shrek's swamp.
Yeah, because that's that's what I like.
Well, it was kind of weird. Like you see it in a lot of like older stadiums. They like even in OU stadium. OU's what is it, north end zone? It looks older than the rest of the stadium does because
Yeah.
it's been there the longest. So the inside of the stadium looks exactly the same as like all the pictures, but the outside they've built like a secondary structure around it that was like
Yeah.
all new brick and whatnot. But yeah, so we got to see the swamp, take a couple of pictures there. I was looking for Chris McClellan, shout out Owasso High School, but I'm sure he's working hard in the weight room. But yeah, it's been a good week so far. But I'm looking forward to this next game. I think it's going to be a good stepping stone for this team and continue to build upon what we did last week as we look forward to Nebraska. But as we all know, OU is one of the best teams at looking forward in the schedule and not focusing on the current week. So I'm hoping that they're able to.
Let's hope that's changed with BV.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, I think along that lines, what you're talking about is not looking too far forward. I think one of the things BV changed up and is doing this year that's interesting. Well, I'll hear what y'all think about it, but he's changing the captains week to week, which is something that's just not seen usually. And he talked about it in one of his interviews. I guess he says he's going to change captains every week until November. So there might be some repeat captains. We're not exactly sure how that's going to be, but they won't actually set in like who the official captains are for the rest of the year. Like at that point, he'll set down or he'll like set who the captains will be. They won't change anymore. But until November, they're going to change. And he said he just doesn't want guys to get too comfortable in their role. Like he doesn't want them to think they're the top of the team. They've made it already. Like they still got stuff to do, games to play, stuff to prove. And so, you know, I'm thinking maybe that might help them also with not looking forward too much. Like, man, I got to play good this week if I want to be a captain. You know, one of the big ones we saw, like Reggie Grimes had a great week last week. He's a captain this week, and so it's
Friend
like
of the podcast.
friend of the podcast, Reggie
Friend of the
Grimes,
podcast.
shout out. But you know, seeing those captains, how it changed, it definitely wasn't something that you normally see or expect. You guys have any thoughts on that of just that being different and what's going on there?
I love that. It gives, different guys an opportunity to step up and, kind of prove themselves. And I mean, being a captain is it's a privilege, and it's something that guys can earn each week. So I kind of like that. What do you think, Noah?
I don't really feel for or against it. I think it's if it's what works for the team and they're able to use the point you made, use it as motivation to play better, like work harder at practice in a classroom, like I'm all for it. I did see the Chicago Bears are doing the same thing, and their week one captains
suck.
One of them is Roquan Smith, who requested a trade. So I'm not sure how that's affecting the leadership, but I don't think he'll be a consistent captain throughout the year if he's asking to be traded during the week.
You know, I'm sure y'all know, but you know how BV got everyone, something that OU's doing now is they got everyone a suit to wear like pregame.
Yeah.
So apparently one of the things they're doing with that captain is like whenever they solidify who the captains will be going forward in November is he's going to get them like a special suit. Like they'll get a special suit jacket. That like almost like you won the Masters, like you're getting your gold jacket, something like that. But they're going to get their own suit jacket that they can wear that separates them as captain. I feel like that's something that's pretty cool. Yeah. Like to get if you work hard for the season, like to be the captain that finishes off the run of your season into championship time. So,
if you guys had to place your vote for one player that you think should be the captain, one of the captains this week, who do you think that is?
Hang time.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say hang time. What do you guys think?
I think it should have been Reggie Grimes.
In a serious note, like he could absolutely be one.
Yeah, no, Reggie Grimes had a fantastic game. I mean,
I was talking about hang time, but both of them.
No, I'm saying he had a fantastic game, but hang time, come on. Like, wait.
I think Braden Willis would have been again, had it not been the changing captains, rotating it out. But he just had a great game, and you can tell the team loves him. I mean, he really is a leader on the team. So,
Danny Stutzman wasn't a captain last week, was he?
Mm-mm.
I don't think so. Yeah, I could see him being one for week 2.
Yeah.
I could also see hang time. Shout out to hang time.
Well, we just talked about wardrobe is in the jackets the final captains are going to be getting. Kind of a big day on the fan outfitting front. OU is one of the first schools to partner with Fanatics and giving players a cut of custom jerseys for NIL. So Joe, you could finally purchase a legit hang time jersey and rock it to games for the rest of your life, or just on Saturday on the couch.
Yeah, Joe, if you really love them, spend $140 for those official jerseys. Come on.
If hang time, if he comes on the podcast, I'll buy 3 jerseys.
You'll buy 3.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here.
Let's start. We got some work to do.
One of us doesn't get to wear a hang time jersey. Joe's only buying 3.
No, it's for us. He doesn't get one.
Yeah.
I'll buy 4.
I was thinking about buying a Joshua Eaton jersey. What about you,
I know
Christian?
where you're going with this.
Not me. Go ahead, Noah.
And Johnny and I can go to games, and I can wear my General Booty jersey. We can be eating booty or booty eating.
I hate that. All right, on to.
Well, anyway.
No, Joe. Don't. Whatever it is. Don't. I like my job. All right, guys. Let's move on. I don't know much about Kent State, but what I'm hearing, word on the street, is that Joe's going to know a lot about Kent State come Friday.
Dang it.
Joe, let the people know. Let the people know what's going on here Friday.
Well, so you guys know that I work for Fellowship of Christian Athletes. And,
shout out Chris Kaiser. We'd love to have you on the pod.
Oh, Kai's Papa is always welcome.
Shout out Chris Kaiser, Brendan Seagraves, Jeremy Timms. A lot of OU players and coaches know him. A lot of guys I work with. Anyway, real quick, tonight I got a call when I was at youth group from my boss, Brendan Seagraves, and he says that he's going to speak to the Kent State football team on Friday morning at their hotel here in Tulsa, I think is what he said. Yeah. So I'm going to go and hang out with some guys while he speaks. So I'll get to know the players pretty good. We'll see if I make some friends, or, I will say I'm glad that the podcast isn't super popped off yet, because they might know who I am. And they might
know who you are from TikTok.
Now, yeah, that's true.
You might walk in and they say, "That's the pizza bully."
Is that the pizza bully?
That's the guy who makes offensive lines out of Nickelodeon
That's
characters
true.
all the time.
Yeah.
So now whenever you watch the game on Saturday, you can be like, "Hey, that guy who just lost 15 yards, I talked to him." Yes, that's pretty much.
Now, here's what you could do.
On.
You get close with Colin Schlee or someone like that and say, God forbid OU loses this game. Colin Schlee joins the post-game podcast to tell us how easy it was,
No,
keep that in your back pocket.
No, don't say that ever again.
Keep that in your back pocket.
If we lose to Kent State, I will absolutely protest Noah. There's not a chance.
We're not losing to Kent State.
Can't do it.
This is just jokes, fans.
Kent State is practicing at Union this week in Tulsa. Yeah. The Union, what's their new name? Red Hawks.
The River. Oh, yeah, Red Hawks.
Red Hawks.
The River Shoes. The Union Red Hawks.
Yeah, they named their team after the shoes that my dad keeps in his garage.
River shoes.
Shout out to Jeff Irwin. He named the Union mascot.
The Union Red
Uncle
Hawk.
Jeff.
And I bet the
Uncle Jeff.
Union Stadium is probably better than Kent State's stadium at home.
But Union's is
So-
crazy.
Yeah, they've got a wild stadium.
So, all right.
Not smooth transition right there.
Yeah, just holding his breath there. But yeah, I'm gonna hang out with some of those guys. But it's all good fun, football and Jesus. But I wanted to bring up something that came up this week. 12-team playoff.
Oh,
What do you guys think?
Man, I'm all for it. I'm trying to think of, teams in previous years, but we all have known there's been some solid teams that don't get love late in the season. They're ranked, fifth, sixth, maybe even up onto ninth place at the end of the season that I feel like could give a legitimate run to the teams in third and fourth. Obviously, the last decade has pretty much been Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, Ohio State, in those top one or two spots. But the third and fourth spot, unfortunately, has been us most of the time. But those teams that are later down the ladder, I think could honestly give us, maybe not our team, but other teams to run for their money. And so having a bracket that's expanded like that would just be great competition.
Yeah.
it's a better take than I expected from Johnny.
Wow.
I'm just kidding.
Just wait till we get to the Texas game.
Yeah, yikes. No, I'm torn on it because I feel like 12 teams is a lot. I agree with what Johnny's saying, but at the same time, usually teams 1, 2, 3, and 4 have dominated, any of the teams between 8 and 12 whenever they end up playing. In the regular season, it's just such a big gap between the Alabama, the Clemsons, the Ohio States normally. Obviously, maybe not Clemson this year, but Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia this year. Previously, like we've seen in a lot of years, OU, there's usually just such a big gap between them and 8 through 12 that it's maybe if we just did a 6-team or 8-team, I would have liked it a little bit more. But also, I think it brings a lot of importance back to the bowl games, which we lost with the 4-team college football playoffs, because all that mattered at that point was make the college football playoffs. Bowl games don't really matter. And so I think this will bring back some more important bowl games, because those bowl games will be playoff games now. So we'll at least, I think it's good that we'll at least see more players playing bowl games and not leaving so early for the NFL, because they've got a better chance of actually making it a little bit further. So that'll just be fun for college football fans. But
Yeah.
A part I think it's going to make the biggest difference that hasn't really been talked about is it encourages better non-conference games to be played.
Yeah.
When you have the 14 playoff, you almost have to and I know schedules are set far out in advance, but you kind of have to tread lightly, and you almost want your non-conference games to be gimme games. So if you do slip up, it's okay, we have one loss, but only one loss. The College Football Playoff Committee, their job's to figure out the best teams at that time. So if OU were to schedule Georgia and USC, whatever, and I know like I said, schedules are made long in advance, but and it'll be different when we're in the US or when we're in the SEC and play Georgia more. But let's say we have really 2 tough games off the rip. Say you lose 1, you lose 2. But then you build and you're playing your best football at the end of the year. It's giving the teams that are hotter a better chance. They wouldn't normally get in, they'd play in a New Year's Six Bowl. Another thing is that the first round games are going to be played at the school of the higher seed.
yeah,
So if you get a top 6 seed, you're getting an extra home game against a really good team.
Well, I think they were saying that the top 4 might actually get a bye for that first round.
Yeah. So
Teams 1 through 4 would get a bye, and the rest of them would play the first round.
that's what I heard, which I think I like that, because that still makes being in the top 4 like matter.
Important, yeah.
Yeah.
So
and,
that's
and
a good point.
You know, that's gonna give for just saying for OU, because it's an OU podcast. There's gonna be a point where OU doesn't end up in the top 4, probably, and they'll still have a chance, which is awesome.
No.
I mean, if the season ended right now and this was the playoffs, you know, if that's true, then at number 7 we would have a home game playoff game, which would be super dope.
Well, yes,
yeah. If the top 4 are,
and just imagine like the atmosphere that it would be something like OU hasn't seen in however many years, a long time.
Yeah.
I don't understand why people are. There's a lot of people that are like complaining about it, and I don't get a lot of people like online, and I'm like, because they say it's going to be the same outcome, and I'm like, well, yeah,
but it's more football. That's what we want.
If your team is Cincinnati, Derek, then wouldn't you rather? You know, is it more likely that Alabama is going to make it all the way through than Cincinnati? Yes. But wouldn't you still rather your team have some kind of chance rather than them playing in the Cheez-It Bowl?
Yeah. Well, you know, and it only takes one game. Like, no one thought OU would beat Alabama the last time that we had played them in a bowl game, you know? Like, we weren't favorites at all. Was that whenever Trevor Knight was our quarterback, and we beat them. Like,
yeah.
You know, you got a chance. It's at one football game. You're not playing a best-of-7 NBA series. You got to win one football game to move on to the next, you know? And so it gives you that chance. Johnny, I'd be interested to hear what you think of how that could affect recruiting. I would imagine, like, maybe it evens the playing field a lot, because now you're thinking, I don't have to go to one of the top 3 teams, you know, to make it to the playoffs. Like, I can go to Michigan, I can go to OSU, I could go to some of these other places that are consistently good and be that player that helps them in the playoffs. And so, I don't know, do y'all think that changes recruiting at all in the way they think through it?
I think it would, just for the top, like, still the top 15 schools. I mean, we're talking about, like, the Blue Bloods currently. So most, like, SEC teams, Notre Dame's, Penn State, us, Clemson, like, teams like that. Tulsa. But while you guys were talking, I pulled up the like final college football playoff rankings for the last couple of years, and I'm looking at some of what are these like would-been matchups. So you're talking about like, so do you guys remember Bo Nix's freshman year at Auburn? This dude like, like popped off.
He's gonna be the second coming.
Yeah. And they would have played. I mean, I still think it's Joe Burrow. So Joe Burrow in 2019 would have blown them out of the water. But to see like somebody like Bo Nix play Joe Burrow potentially in like a first, you know, matchup would be, you know, primetime football. And then looking at the next year, we would have probably played like Georgia in the COVID year. And, you know, who knows how that game like plays out and stuff like that. And so if you think about it going forward, like, I don't know what it's going to look like. But looking back these couple of years, like that would have been some awesome playoff games to see and matchups that are not frequent whatsoever. So,
and you just get more games with your players. Like I'm all for more football. Like if they're going to give us more football, bring it on.
More football that matters too.
Especially now with the transfer portal and like players opting out for stuff, like the more time you get to watch players you like play for your team, it's a win.
Well, you know, I have all these old white guys getting mad that players are opting out.
Well, in the Big Eight, we had to earn it around here.
Back in my day, we played all the way through. We were loyal to our team.
He's not a team player. He needs to play in the Cheez-It Bowl for his team.
So, but, you know, and obviously none of us are like OSU fans, but you think about it, like OSU's got a couple top 12 finishes recently, and they mainly do it with 3 stars. Like those are the people that they're bringing in most of the time is 3 stars, 4 stars. Like imagine if some recruits know like, hey, OSU can make the playoffs now. Like they're in that position to where, me as a 5-star, me as a highly recruited 4-star, I could go to OSU. I'm still going to make the playoffs and I could be a difference maker. Like that's going to help those schools, the OSUs, the Baylors that are playing well but not always getting the best recruits. This is going to help them recruiting wise.
I could also see like a slight negative, depending on your take on it, would be like it could spread out quarterbacks. So instead of like OU getting they've been kind of recruiting like every other year pattern until this whole last year, but instead of getting a 5-star or 4-star guy every year, it might be every other year, and the guy they're considering. Oh my gosh. Sorry about that. One like you could see like a OSU grab an occasional 5-star because or 4-star. 5-star might be high, but because they don't want to go sit behind whoever for 2 years, or in the transfer portal, like a Joe Burrow's case, how he left and went to LSU. You could see those guys leave and go to like lesser programs, like I don't know. We're talking about OSU, so let's just say that.
It also, in a funny way, would eliminate all of the UCF Coastal Carolina debates of the teams that went undefeated and never had a shot or whatever. Like
Dylan Gabriel could have a national championship right now.
He does.
Yeah, true.
In the COVID year, Coastal Carolina would have played Alabama.
Yeah, we'll settle that right now. You think I like that. I mean, if someone truly went undefeated in that, I mean, there's no questioning it. They're champs,
Right.
And one thing all of the schools are going to freak out about is obviously more games is more money. They're going to love that. So, I don't think you're getting any complaints from those top schools. I was listening to someone else talking about this, and they were talking about, wouldn't that be bad for the top 4 teams to have a bye because they actually miss a home game? Like that's a lot of money. But I guess they've already decided the way that they do that is they will pull together all of the money made from those playoff games, like through the whole course, and then divide it equally between all of those teams. So that way no one misses out. So that way it's not a bad thing to be in the top 4. Like you're not missing out on more opportunity financially wise. So which those teams are all good anyways. They have millions of dollars. So they're doing just fine. But all right, well, Noah, why don't you catch everybody up on our picks from last week since man, you just had a great week. Let's let you go ahead and talk through those, give everybody a reminder. He left. Oh no, it was Johnny. I just saw your camera move. Yeah. All right, we'll see you, Johnny. Johnny's on the road. He's cuts out sometimes.
He's switching to his computer. He's switching to his computer. Yeah. So as we'll just start this precedent, the loser of the week, maybe we'll do overall loser until they dig themselves out of the hole, has to reveal the standings. But Christian, Johnny tied for first last week at 3-1. Joe came in 2-2, and I finished 1-3.
I would just like to say, technically, I'm 3-2, but apparently one of my picks didn't count.
Well,
but I was the only one.
I had a win that didn't count. I picked Florida.
I picked Florida State to beat LSU, and I feel like I should be.
Your wild card game only counts for yourself. You don't get to take credit of other people's wild card games. Sorry.
I picked Florida State to beat LSU, and I feel like I should be compensated.
Do you have mesothelioma?
I think
mesothelioma.
All right, so getting into this week's, let's see.
Johnny's back. Welcome to the podcast, Johnny.
Johnny,
glad
you're here.
What's up?
Hi.
Johnny. Okay. All right. Kicking things off with OU Kent State.
Wait, hold on. I wanted to talk about, you didn't go over the picks. I at least wanted to talk about how Central Michigan covered against OSU, and I got that right.
Yeah, if you want to take your victory lap,
all the OSU fans that were in our DMs and commenting that I'm an idiot and it would never happen. Listen, OSU once again blows a big game. I know they still won it, but blew a huge lead. They just can't handle Central Michigan. Should never have been that close.
Nobody and once wants again, to play the Chippewas.
There they are. So fight on, Chippewas. I think next year not next year. Next time they play, they're going to win it. But OSU fans that told me I was crazy, stay out of my mentions because y'all are awful. So, and it's really not fair that your D line is pretty much old enough to be the father of everybody else on the other team. You've got like these guys are like 8-year redshirt freshmen that you have. They're 33 years old. Like freshmen. I don't even. They took a COVID year, a couple redshirt years. Like I don't even know how it happens, but yeah, you guys got to calm down on that. So,
any other points on last week? I don't care to talk on it again. I thought I was gonna break even, and an LSU just went and ripped the heart out.
I thought I was 3-2, but apparently everyone cheats me out of stuff. So I'm not cool.
We don't pick each other's.
Even cheated you out of playing college football, huh?
Huh?
You got cheated out of playing college football, huh?
I did. By my dad getting cancer. All right, Noah. Noah, go ahead. And,
all right. OU Kent State. Let's get into it
for us, buddy.
I brought this up with Christian. I'm going to take a little unconventional route on picking this game. OU is favored by 34.5. However, I will not be picking the spread of this game. Give me the under 72.5. I think this game, similar to last week, is we limit their possessions, take some time, run the ball. We'll hit the occasional like big play, try and score quick. I just don't see it getting over the 72.5 points. I think the defense is sharper, holds them to less points. Their quarterback doesn't look as good. We'll see what he can do in the run game, what they can do. I'm sure they'll scheme differently than maybe they did for Washington. We'll see. But I think I'm going with the under 72.5.
I'm going to go with the spread, and I'm going to take the I forget how to say these things right. The over, is that if I'm picking OU to cover the spread, like to win by more? Yeah.
Are you picking OU?
You're taking OU and the points.
Yeah, I'm taking OU and the points. So I think they're going to just do what they did to UTEP last week. They're going to hang up a bunch of points, and I don't think that Kent State offense has a chance. Like you said, UTEP's quarterback last week, I mean, he's definitely the real deal. Like
you could give him a call.
Yeah, you could put him on Iowa's team right now, and that'd be a big improvement for them.
That's not saying much at all.
But they could be hang on. Dude's real. Like
Iowa won a Division I football game, kicking a field goal and getting two safeties.
Hey,
that's awesome.
They need.
They're
consistent.
A Rocky Kalmus kind of game.
Listen, they are consistently good. They have great defense every year.
But they
might be tight end you. There's so many NFL tight ends from there, but they cannot get a quarterback to save their life.
Is there even a quarterback you can think of that's come from Iowa that has had any kind of NFL career? Like, nope. I can't even think of a name.
I can't even think of a college quarterback from there.
Seriously.
Joe Irwin.
Wow. Yeah, I guess I forgot about him. And then I heard he went on to become Stone Cold Steve Austin. So
he did.
Yeah. But yeah, that quarterback for UTEP, like he could be playing at a lot of other big schools, and so I don't see us having that problem here with Kent State. So I'm OU. I think they'll cover the spread too. So
I think OU covers.
All right,
Johnny, what do you think?
All right, here's the deal. I just see.
I hate when he talks.
I think I see this game as a tryout game. I'm gonna take the under with Noah, but not for the reasons that he gave. Listen, I see BV as trying out some new combinations of players on the field in this game because this offense is not as prominent as UTEP, and so I think he has a better opportunity to see. I don't know, maybe have some freshmen working with seniors or putting Justin Harrington in at Cheetah more, stuff like that. So I think that they may have some more points scored on them than we maybe would if we had a full starters in all the time. I could be wrong, but I just see this as more of a tune-up game rather than actual competition. So I'll take the under.
Yeah.
All right,
That's gonna be the lead that I get on Johnny right there. We'll take first place.
Hey,
No way.
that's how I get out of the hole. Moving on, we have Alabama and the mighty Texas Longhorns. Alabama comes into Austin a 20.5-point favorite. Man.
Can we just let Johnny go?
Johnny, go ahead.
Johnny, go.
Okay, well, as I said in the first podcast, Alabama is winning this game. We all know that. I am going to take the under on that. I think that it is going to be a much closer game than a 3-touchdown game. I think it could even be a 1-touchdown game.
We'll see him.
We'll see you. Oh,
again,
there he is.
Again, I just think I froze for a minute. Sorry, listeners. I think it's going to be a 1-touchdown game because Bijan Robinson is the best running back in the country. I really do think he is. Xavier Worthy has an argument to be the best wide receiver in the country. And Quinn Ewers is one of the best quarterbacks to come out of Texas high school football in years. But
Kyler's
they are
still
Texas.
better, but...
Okay. I agree. I think Kyler Murray is the best Texas quarterback ever.
Okay. So just to clarify, you're saying Texas will cover the spread. You're not taking the under on the game, or do I have that wrong?
Correct. My bad.
Cover the
No,
spread.
you're fine. Yeah.
I'm going to agree with Johnny. Actually, I'm going to pick Texas to cover the spread. I still think Alabama's winning. I think this is just the first game that's going to test Alabama, their defense and all of that for this year. And so I think they're going to cover the spread. I think maybe that's also me being hopeful that it gives Texas and OU a better look moving into the SEC. And so, I'm picking that. I'm hoping, as long as Quinn Ewers makes it to the game. I know his car got towed while he was trying to play the last game. I'm not sure. I haven't heard if he's got that back. The dude was at his own stadium and his car got towed during the game. Like, what?
Can't park here.
That is wild. But yeah, I'm gonna pick Texas to cover the spread.
And here's where I retake first place. Alabama
by 4.
Hey man, you just stack wins on wins on wins until you're there. Alabama's covering this game. Texas, I do think they keep it close for the first half, but Bryce Young is just too dynamic, too explosive. I think they break away in the second half. They can't keep up. Yeah, I think Alabama by huge.
How huge?
I'll tell you this.
More than 21.
Will Anderson is going to eat. I know what I just said, but Will Anderson could have 4 sacks in this game if he wanted to.
He has an outside shot at the Heisman.
Yep. Like, he has as good of a shot at the Heisman as Tyrann Mathieu did. Like, dude is maybe even more. He might be the best college defensive player I've seen in the last.
Let me see if I can find some Heisman
don't
odds.
forget about my boy Manti Te'o.
Yeah. He had an outside shot at getting a girlfriend.
He was a monster.
Outside shot at getting a girl.
I still can't believe she died and came back to life. Okay, sorry. Go ahead, Joe.
That's crazy.
Okay, go ahead, Joe.
I am going to say that, Texas keeps it a little bit closer. I'm gonna say that they win, or I'm gonna say no. I'm not gonna say they win. I'm gonna say Alabama wins by like 2 touchdowns.
So Texas covers spread.
Yeah.
All right, I'm pretty confident in being the only one on this side of the. That's 3 L's for y'all. All right, next we have it's an interesting game. Baylor at BYU. So Baylor's ranked number 9 in the country. BYU is ranked 21, but BYU is the home 3.5-point favorite. I'll let y'all start this one off. Interested to see where y'all go.
Baylor's some dogs. I think they cover. Wait, hold on. Baylor's favored by what?
BYU's favored by 3.5.
BYU's favored?
Yeah, it's the
Girl.
odd.
Okay, never mind. No, I think Baylor wins that game.
Okay.
Easily by at least 10 points.
I think, man, I've just got to be true to who I am here, and so I'm going to be the good Baptist pastor that I am, and I'm going to pick the Baylor Bears to cover because Baylor is a Baptist university, and I don't think I can side with the Mormons on this one, so I'm going to pick the Baylor Baptists to take down the BYU Mormons here.
I don't think that's their mascot, Christian.
Oh, sorry.
But
Sorry, I meant the Baylor Bears. That's sorry. Yeah, my bad. My bad on that one.
Johnny,
Yeah.
what do you think?
I'm going to pick the Baylor Bears to win this game. They don't have Zach Wilson's leadership within that locker room anymore. And
What a
honestly,
legend.
I don't remember any other decent players from that team besides him. I think he was just a sheer playmaker. So, yeah, Baylor's winning this game. I think they hold him to a pretty low amount of points, too. Baylor's defense with Dave Aranda is going to be good this year no matter what.
So you guys are all on Baylor's side of this, right?
Yep.
Okay, I'm just gonna make the strategic pick, and I'm gonna take BYU at home. I don't know much about them at all. This is just this is where I come for the top spot.
Oh, you're gonna be down 1-7 this
Golly, Noah.
1-8.
Oh man.
That's tough.
Yeah, I'm not confident in it. I don't know much about BYU at all. Probably should have researched this prior, but I'll take them to win by at least 4. All right, moving on to the wild card spot. This is everyone's favorite spot. Unless it's not your favorite spot. Let's see. You, Johnny.
All right. So, just to give my, in-laws some props here, I'm going to go with the Florida-Kentucky game. Kentucky's quarterback, Will Levis, is a monster. He really is. Massive dude, can sling the ball, but I am going to go with Florida in this game. AR-15, also known as Anthony Richardson, had a heck of a play last week in his own game and kind of saved the game for the team. But I think Florida pulls this game out. I don't think Kentucky has the defensive front to keep up with the speed and just agility that is Anthony Richardson and his wideouts. So Florida over Kentucky.
Christian?
Oh, okay. For me, I'm picking the Texas Tech Houston game. Noah, while I talk about this, can you let me know what the spread is? I think it's 2.5 or something like that. I think it was pretty close.
Yeah,
but
2.5. Tech's favored 2.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm picking Tech to win and to cover that spread. I think they're going to win by more than 3 points, 3 or more at that point. They've got just a wild offense. They seem to always have a wild offense. They've got 2 wide receivers last week that both had over 100 yards. One of them 6'4", one of them 6'5". They had 3 quarterbacks throw for a touchdown last week. Starting quarterback had 4 touchdowns last week. I know they played Murray State, but their offense is rolling. They're moving. I think Joe's making some weird faces on here, but I think they're gonna keep the ball moving. I think they're gonna beat Houston there. Houston won't be ranked next week. Texas Tech might be ranked next week. This pick is for you, Zach Dietz. I doubt you listen to this, but I know that you love the Raiders, and so there you go.
While you have the stats pulled up, so Texas Tech starter from last week is not playing in this game. He's out for a couple weeks. What did the next guy do?
You're talking about their quarterback?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they played two guys. They played two other guys. Morton was 7 for 10. He had 97 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. I'm guessing the next guy might be who they start, though. It's Tyler Show, as I think you say his name.
Yeah.
But he was 6 for 10, 154 yards, and a touchdown. So, I think their offense will continue to roll. He's still same guy. I mean, he's big, 6'5", prototypical quarterback, and so I think they'll move the ball. They'll get going. Always think of Cliff Kingsbury and the damage he did whenever he was with Texas Tech. So I don't know why. I just always still kind of root for them in the back of my mind. So that's the game I'm going for.
Yeah, so if I remember right, I'm looking it up. It's Tyler Show was playing for Baylor this last year. Or not Baylor, Oregon. He actually had some decent games. So it's not like he's an inexperienced quarterback. He has some games under his belt for sure.
Yeah.
So
Joe, what game are you going with this week?
I am going with see you, Christian. I'm going with South Carolina versus Arkansas. I had to check on our old boy Spencer Rattler, and he had a pretty decent game. Well, I would say pretty good game, besides the fact that he threw 2 interceptions. He was 23 for 27, 227 yards, had a touchdown, 2 interceptions though. KJ Jefferson went 18 for 26, 223 yards, 3 touchdowns.
One of those, former Sooner, Jaden Hazelwood.
Yep. Former Sooner. Shout out. We love to have you on the podcast. But yeah, I just think that Arkansas is the better team. I just think they have more talent. And I mean, if Spencer Rattler, I'm sure he'll have a good game, but I just kind of think that Arkansas is just, there's some dudes this year, and I like their coach a lot, so I'm picking Arkansas to cover.
My wild card game is.
Sorry, Spencer Rattler played. It was the Georgia State game this week, right? Was that the last game they played? Was Georgia State?
Yeah, Georgia State.
I think he had an awful game. His QBR was like 28.6. He had 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. I don't think he's looking anything like he was supposed to look, but
he's also throwing to like nobody. He has Austin Stogner, and that's it.
How'd Stog do last week? Anyone have the stats?
I think he had 1 catch, maybe not even.
I think he had like 14 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? I read that wrong.
23 for 37.
23 for 37.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I was like, okay, guys. 23 for 27. That's pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and change everything. I had that written down as 27. Anyway, yeah, that's pretty not that great. So, yeah, Arkansas, I'm going to take the over. Arkansas wins by 3 touchdowns.
There you go.
Okay.
Joe's going with Arkansas to cover. For my game, I promised a certain listener that I would check in on his team throughout the year. One of our favorites, friend of the podcast, Al Chambers.
Golly.
His Tennessee Volunteers go to 17th ranked Pittsburgh. They're favored by 6.5. I think they get the 7 they need. They go into a pretty hostile environment on the road against a higher ranked team, and they get the dub. I got them winning by at least 7.
Wow.
So Al, there you go. If they let me down, never betting on them again.
Al's an absolute menace on the battlefield.
Here's the thing. I don't think it's a crazy pick, honestly. I think Tennessee has some holes in their roster, but golly, remind me of their quarterback's name. It's Hendon
Hooker.
Yeah.
I barely know her.
Yeah. Hendon Hooker had some crazy games last year. I mean, almost
Highs
beat
and lows.
Alabama. Yeah, like extreme highs, extreme lows.
Yeah.
So honestly, if they put it together, you're right. They could win by maybe multiple touchdowns, but they also could. He could also have like a 4 interception game. So
yeah,
we'll see.
We're rolling with Rocky Top.
Yeah. So if you guys followed us on social media, this week we had a major growth on Twitter. We're hoping, I know OU Twitter is huge, loyal fan base, lots of interaction, and so we want to be a part of that. We want to chat with other fans and give takes and things like that. But y'all saw on Twitter and Instagram, and we announced it in our post game pod on Saturday that we were doing a ticket giveaway for this week, OU versus Kent State, and so we took everyone who entered that. We just told you to follow, like, and share, and we took all those names and we did a raffle. And Noah, I think, do you have that name pulled up of who we have as the winner here?
Yeah,
the winner right here on this pod.
Yeah, the winner of the ticket giveaway for the Kent State game is Misty McCaslin. Misty, we're sending you a message. Yeah, you won. So
shout out to Misty.
Yeah, shout out to Misty. This actually came from Instagram, so we cross posted it and just used the whatever the name of the software was and put all the eligible entries together, and that was the winner. So, Misty, congrats.
Didn't she message and say that her son was like asking about it?
Oh yeah, let me pull up that comment. It's kind of funny. She said, yeah, she commented on the Instagram post and said, "Have you guys picked a winner yet? My son keeps asking because he's hoping I pick him. Because he's hoping I pick him if I do win." So that's cool.
Yeah, it's gonna be his first game, right?
Yeah. It didn't say.
Don't know that.
It didn't say that, but it could be. Who knows? If he's that anxious, maybe it is. So, shout out Misty. Thanks for following along and supporting the podcast. Be on the lookout. This is something we want to keep doing. Maybe all the home games. We're working on some stuff for that, but we'd love to get some people tickets for future games.
If we get tickets, we're giving them away. So, we had someone donate us some tickets. We wanted to give them away to our followers. We're going to continue to do that. So we're just, we're going to be on the lookout to get tickets for you guys and to continue to do giveaways without expecting y'all to give us anything, in return. We're not, we just want you guys to share the message on Twitter so everyone sees it and has chances to win. And we'll continue to do that for you guys. So,
yeah. Sometimes we might give away tickets. Sometimes we might give away other stuff. Sometimes, I got like some old like vitamins on my desk here, and we can give that away.
The Flintstones?
Yeah, the Flintstone vitamins.
Ooh, I might just buy
Joe, can we give away the Rocky Kalmus book?
No, but we'll give away like an OU hat, and I'll sign it.
It just lowers the value.
I don't know if you guys know this, but that's Joe Irwin Comedy on TikTok. It might be worth something.
Yeah, you could do like an inscription that says the Pizza Bully.
I'll go grab a $10 hat from Walmart and I'll sign it for you. So whoever wants that, just donate a bunch of money to our podcast and we'll get that for you.
Donate a bunch of money. Oh man. That's good. That was weird. I don't know why I can't get this out of my head, and I just wanted to laugh about it real quick, and then we can get off here. But I just kept thinking about Texas Tech, Cliff Kingsbury, and you guys remember that time of just absolute chaos whenever our last coach left, and everyone was speculating who the next coach will be. Okay, so
I was so triggered.
Cliff Kingsbury's name was thrown out there. I know most of you guys didn't like that. I was like, that'd be cool. I'd like to see him back college football. Like, I was about it. But the one that I don't know why I just went through this whole train of thought in my head. And the funniest one, if you weren't like an Oklahoma fan who is like listening to podcasts or like on Twitter and seeing stuff,
is it Dabo?
Yes.
Yeah.
The way that this worked
I was
out.
bought in.
The way that this, obviously Joe Castiglione was at Clemson, and everyone thought it was to see Dabo Swinney, and we were all freaking out. But the reasoning behind it, obviously we know now, it was to see Brent Venables, but the reasoning was Drake's in town. Drake is in Oklahoma, and
He's
somehow
gonna
this
record a
got all the
music
way
video.
through.
I actually saw him.
Yeah, you saw him at the Thunder game.
I got to shake his hand at a Thunder game. That was cool. One of the coolest moments ever. I was like, yeah, it was awesome. Like, he was sitting courtside, and during halftime, like, people went up to him, and I was like, at the same time, you don't want to be that guy, but I was like, I'm never gonna be like 5 feet away from Drake again in my life. Like, I don't care. Like, it was kind of one of those things. Like, I don't care if I get fired either. It's like, it's worth it. Maybe he'll give me some money. You know, I don't know, but yeah, it was super
just
cool.
to
But
think
he was
about
in.
how crazy like OU's thought process was through this. Like, it sounds ridiculous now, but in the moment we all believed. Like, there was a sense of like, this could be awesome. That Drake is here because he also is an ambassador for the Jordan brand, which is the sponsor of OU. And so somewhere someone came up with all of this stuff and had lots of people convinced that Drake was here to perform at an OU concert where they would announce Dabo Swinney as the head coach.
There was so much going on at that time. Like, Drake, so he came to the Thunder game with one of his stylists who is like a cousin of Lou Dort or Shea. He knows him from Canada or something. So he wasn't here just to watch them. So it's like, why would he come all the way here for a friend of a family member, you know? So the wheels start spinning, and during that time, the fan base was in like total uproar. Like, there's rumors left and right. I was sending messages to Johnny, like, from like message boards from like subscription sites that I subscribed to. I was reading. He was like, Brent's only going to agree to come if he can have Dabo as like one of the coordinators. And it's like, just in what world were we living in where we thought that was a real possibility? Like, he's going to take this pay cut. He wants Brent to be his boss. Like, and yeah, it's just a crazy time.
I would also just like to say, if that did happen and Drake did a performance and announced Dabo Swinney as the new coach, I wouldn't be mad about that, because I love Dabo Swinney, and if he brought Brent with him,
I tried to hold it in.
If he brought Brent with him, it would have been so awesome. But you know what? I'm glad for the coach we have. But Drake, if we'd love to have you on the podcast,
we're gonna have Drake.
We'd love to have you on the podcast too.
Drake, you can do a concert and announce that Dabo Swinney will be our next coach, even if it's fake, on our podcast anytime you'd like.
A concert on the podcast. Now there's an idea.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening to another episode of Podcast Like a Champion today. Make sure you go follow us on Twitter and Instagram and look out for giveaways and OU content. Also, leave us a 5-star review. And if you have a question you'd like us to address on the next podcast, you can comment on any streaming platform. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you.